Hello everyone, welcome back. I'm doing something new today. This is pretty much just going to be a full audio video. I'm going to have a picture up on the screen, but it's going to be like an Xbox and a PS4 or something because that's the main subject here, so it'd only be fitting. I'm going to be doing a comparison between the Xbox One and PS4 press conferences that just happened today because they're still fresh in my mind and I figured, why not? So yeah, I'm doing something new, may turn this into a whole thing, I don't know. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to do the Xbox One first because it came first, so it's only natural. I'm going to start with the pros and then go with the cons. There are quite a bit of cons, so yeah. Alright, let's see. Pros. Large variety in entertainment options. They do have that. You cannot take that away from them. They have a lot of TV, movies. There were some parodies made about that, but, you know, it's whatever. If that's what you want, then just get that. If you care about a wide variety of entertainment. But as a gaming console, I just like to focus more on gaming. And I'll go ahead and throw this out right away. I do not care what the consoles look like. It could come to my house in a cardboard box, and I don't care, as long as it performs well. Which is, the PS4 and the Xbox One, they're getting some heat right now because of the way they look. I just don't care. They can look flashy, they can look like a box, I don't care. As long as they perform well. So just throwing that out right now, I'm not going to do any pros or cons on how they look. Controller design, however, that's a different story because that depends on the function of how you actually play it. But anyway, large amount of servers, a lot less crashing, all that stuff, so that's good. Built-in DVR, that is something that both the PS4 and the Xbox One have, so that's pretty good if you want to do stuff on YouTube, but I have a recorder for that, so that doesn't apply to me. Dead Rising 3, that is it for the hardware and software. Oh, no, actually, let's see, moving to real currency. It's not a deal breaker. I mean, I didn't really care. I kind of like the Microsoft points. It doesn't really change my opinion on the console that they changed that, but I guess it's good. It's less confusing now for some people. But yeah, that's the end of the software and consoles itself. Now I'm going to move on to the pros for the exclusives they're going to have. Dead Rising 3 starting off. I kind of knew that was coming because they had a leaked picture, but I was definitely still excited to see it because I was a big fan of that franchise. And of course, Halo. I mean, if you have Xbox, you have to have Halo on there. That has been my favorite franchise for a while, so I'm still going to have to get an Xbox One this year just for that, and a few other of these exclusives that I was actually really impressed by. I didn't think the Xbox One would have stuff this good, and I'm very glad to see they did not have any Kinect exclusives. I'm really glad they're moving far away from that. It's probably just going to be like a novelty thing now, not a giant focus. But yeah, and then next in line is Sunset Overdrive, which is Insomniac Games, usually a PS3 and Sony developer, has moved over to the Xbox now, and they made a really cool looking game called Sunset Overdrive. From what it looked like to me, it's kind of like the Infamous controls, like the game Infamous controls of moving around and sliding and all that stuff, built in with like shooting monsters and all that. It was just crazy. You have to look up the trailers. Me explaining it will not really help visualize or anything. And there's also 2 free games per month. I think that's only for the Xbox 360, but it may go over to the Xbox One. That's a good feature, I guess, but the PS3 already has that with PlayStation Plus. So, I mean, it's good if you don't have a PlayStation. But for me, I have a PlayStation, so I guess I'm excluded from that. Alright, Minecraft Xbox One Edition. That sounds really good for one specific reason. The PC version had infinite worlds, and of course the Xbox version couldn't because it could not handle all of the seeds and everything to run that. So with the Xbox One, I'm thinking it'll have better technology, so it'll be able to run all of those different variables and stuff that has to go in with running an infinite world. So that's to look forward to. There's something called D4, which is an episodic murder mystery, which actually looks really cool. It kind of reminds me of that game Heavy Rain and the way you control it with all the quick times and everything. But it looks really interesting. I cannot wait for that. And finally, well, not finally, there's one after this. Excuse that. Up next, Project Spark. Looks very good. It's kind of like, in terms of creating, it's kind of like Little Big Planet, how you have these brains and everything that you can program to do certain things, but it takes it to a new level where you can just take a rock and you can tell that rock, hey, when I come close, jump after me, and then you can morph that rock into a fighter, and then you can morph that rock into a mech, and you can terraform the ground, just glide across it, you can spawn enemies. It looks really crazy. I mean, that was a really big shock to me that they had an exclusive that good. And then the final one is Titanfall, which is pretty much a first-person shooter. I'm not sure, they didn't give too many specifics on it, but it's a first-person shooter that's just chaotic. There's mechs and everything, and you can call in a Titan, which is where the game got its name, because you bring in a Titanfall and it drops it down. So yeah, that looks really good. Alright, on to the cons, and this is the bummer. I have been an Xbox fan for a really long time, but just everything they have in here really turns me away. First of all, the price is going to be $500. That is pretty steep, and I checked on GameStop. The only pre-orders I saw on there, I may be wrong, but the only pre-orders I saw were of bundles, where if you get it with another game, so that's $560 instead of the $500. So it brings up the price a bit. And then there is a possible fee for used games. They basically already said that they're not going to block used games, but they didn't really speak too much on whether they're going to have the fee, because I've always heard that it's going to be a fee. How much the fee is not released. I'm hoping it's something around $10 or $15, but what I've heard is it's going to be the full price of the game. So that's pretty bad. And then one that is actually confirmed by Microsoft is login every 24 hours. So if you ever go 24 hours without internet, or if you just don't have internet to begin with, you cannot run your Xbox. Xbox One, you can still run your old ones. So that is really, I don't understand the logic there. I guess it's for DRM, so you can't do anything, but I don't get that. I don't know why they would do that. It's really just shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, that's just going to turn away so many people, and it already has. The response on the internet is very bad right now. I don't know why they don't just listen. And then up next, Kinect has to be plugged in. This made the least amount of sense to me. I don't know why they require that to be just in at all times. I mean, you can unplug the thing, so it's like they know you can unplug it. They've made it to where you can unplug it, but they tell you that you can't. So I don't understand the logic there. If they're going to do that, just build it into the system. You can technically turn Kinect off by doing it software-wise, where you can go into the Xbox and just turn it off from within the Xbox, but you can't actually unplug it. So it's a little weird that they just want it that way. And then you can customize the information that gets sent to Microsoft. The whole thing's just odd. I don't understand any of that. And apparently there's supposed to be an expensive controller. I've heard something like $100, which is crazy for a controller. The one I have is a special one. It's the chrome. Well, not exactly chrome, but it's like the white, and it has the transformable D-pad so that you can move that around. And it looks cool, and it's $65, but that's a special edition one. This is just for the standard controller. Alright, so there's my go on Xbox One. Now time to go over to the PS4, which I knew I was going to like this announcement. I just had no idea how much I was going to like it. And it has absolutely converted me from mainly playing the Xbox to mainly playing the PlayStation now. Which I've always played the Xbox mainly, but I've always branched out and played other consoles. I've never exactly just fanboyed out and stuck with one. But this time, the Xbox One has so many odd features that I'm just going to pretty much stick with Sony this time around and only play the Xbox One every time an exclusive comes out, which they have a lot of, so I'll probably be on there for a lot. Alright, let's get started with the pros of the PS4. Right away, something that people who are fans of PlayStation have liked for a while, free online, that's back. So you don't have to worry about online. I pay for a PlayStation Plus, which is kind of like a membership, but that's only for free games, so I'm still paying every year, but if you want to play online, you don't have to pay. PlayStation Plus is completely optional. You get deals, you get games for free, you get all that, but you don't have to have it. It's just a nice little bonus. And then you can stream PS4 games to the Vita, which I thought was actually really, really cool. When they announced it first for the PS3, I thought, wow, that's crazy that I can play PS3 games on it. But they never really expanded out and fleshed that out or really did anything with it. They only had a handful of games you could even remote play with. But now, it's every single PS4 game, except for the ones that require the PlayStation Eye, because you can't really get that in there as well. But every PS4 game other than that, you can stream directly to your Vita with the remote play, which I think is really cool. It's kind of like how the Wii U has it with the tablet, but it's on a smaller scale and it's more powerful. So I really enjoy that. Next up is something they saved for the end of the conference, which I was actually pretty shocked by, actually. They released the price. The Xbox One is going to be released at $500. They didn't say $499. I think they just said a flat $500. The PS4, however, will be released at $399, which is $100 less than the Xbox One. Which I think is great, not only because it's cheaper, of course, but because you don't have to pay online, so that's more money you're not having to spend. And the hardware specs were released, and the PS4 has a more powerful video card, so you're paying for less and getting more, which is really good this time around on the PS4. I mean, the PS3 was more powerful than the Xbox 360, but there were just certain things about the PS3 that I didn't like. The controller, for one, and the internet. The controller I'm getting up to. But there were just things that just didn't go well with me, but the PS4 just seems to correct all of that, so very happy about that. Up next is the redesigned controller. I am very, very happy about that. I can play with the PS3 controller, but it's not as comfortable as it was when I was a kid. It felt better when I was younger because it's a smaller controller, so it worked at that time, but as I grew older, it just didn't work as well. So now I'm glad to see they're changing the shape of it to fit your hand better, and the analog sticks actually go in instead of being out, like rounded. I don't know which term is used. It's like concave and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm not going to get into all the technical sides there. Another thing Sony wanted to make very clear at the end of the announcement is that there will be no online checks, which is great. I didn't think they would have that anyway. I don't know why they would, following the reaction that Microsoft got. And then it allows used games, and not only that, but they said they encouraged used games, like they support it. So they're definitely trying to make it clear that, yes, we have used games, we like used games, please keep it up. So that's a very big thumbs up from me, like just how much they seem to get the reaction. And instead of just saying, well, we're going to do this anyway, they're saying, well, that got some pretty bad feedback, let's not do that. Let's not follow their route. Let's do the exact opposite, because that seems to be what people want. And that's exactly right. That's exactly what people want. And then after that, they said that indie developers, or maybe before that, I don't remember, they showed indie games up on the stage, which were all pretty awesome, by the way. But they said that indie developers can self-publish, which I didn't even know was an issue on the Xbox, but apparently they had to publish through Microsoft. So they just couldn't take their games and put it up there. I guess now they have complete freedom over the games they put up, which is really great for indie developers. I actually have an entire series of videos now that is, it's called Indie Zone, and I play indie games in there. So clearly, I like the indie community, and I'm very glad to see that. And I will absolutely be making videos on those, so you can see those in the future when the PS4 comes out. Alright, now moving on to the games that I'm looking forward to most on the PS4. You have Infamous Second Son. I really love the Infamous games. I'm very glad to see the gameplay for that. It looked amazing. I liked it. The protagonist, very likable. He's funny. He's what a protagonist should be. I like him. He's just great. And then you have Beyond Two Souls, which is the game with Ellen Page, where the girl looks exactly like her. I think that's going to be on the PS3, so I don't know if I should rope that in with all these PS4 games, but it looks really good. And since it's Sony related, I figured I might as well just put it in here. I guess along with that, I can put The Last of Us in here, but The Last of Us is coming out, I think actually, yeah, this week, so it doesn't seem fitting to put that in there with all these games that are going to be released later this year. And then up next is Killzone Shadow Fall, which I've always liked the Killzone games, but I felt like they were kind of lacking in certain areas. Like the multiplayer was basically just your typical kill each other. This time around, it seems like they're changing a lot of things, although they didn't show that much gameplay at this announcement. In the original PS4 announcement, they showed a lot more gameplay. So yeah, absolutely looking forward to that. And then there is a game called The Order, which I think is actually the first game they showed, or one of the first. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think they're hunting mythical creatures like werewolves and vampires, but they never actually show them. You just see the shadows and you hear the growls and all that stuff. It looks really cool, though. And then you have Final Fantasy 15, or Final Fantasy Versus 8. I don't know. They showed two names up there. I couldn't tell which one was the actual game. But yeah, that looked really cool. I thought it was some game called The Last Guardian that people seem to be talking about. I'm not really sure what game that is, but I'm sure it's awesome, too. But yeah, this Final Fantasy game, man, they really went all out with the action. I did not even know it was Final Fantasy, because normally that's just like turn-based action and Crisis Core and all that stuff. But yeah, they're really coming out of their shell with this one. And then the final PS4 announcement, which I'm pretty sure this is an exclusive, and one that I was really, really shocked to see, is Kingdom Hearts 3. I did not even expect that to be coming. I thought that was just rumors. I heard about it, I just completely dismissed it as rumors. Because people have been talking about Kingdom Hearts 3 forever. I mean, there were memes on the internet. It was like Half-Life 3. It was like one of those games that everyone wants, but it's just not coming out. And then they unveiled it here, and everyone just lost it. I mean, all the people on my page, all the people on other pages, it's all they were talking about is Kingdom Hearts 3. So yeah, people are absolutely looking forward to that one, and I am too. The graphics, the gameplay, just everything looks awesome about it. And there's also an HD collection coming in. I don't know how many games are in that, but I think it might actually be all of the 3D Kingdom Hearts games. None of the 2D ones, like the ones that came out on the Game Boy Advance. At least I don't think. I'm not sure. I haven't researched the Kingdom Hearts stuff very well. Alright, and on to the cons for the PS4. This one's a little tricky because I actually don't have any cons yet. I put none so far on my list. After watching that, I don't think I found anything that I didn't like. I mean, there were no intrusive features. They didn't try to force anything on you. They did take a few stabs at the Xbox One, which publishers and developers and all that stuff and console makers and everyone, they always try to compete, but in the Xbox One, they didn't really talk about the PS4 that much, so it felt a little stabby and underhanded for them to just completely stab the Xbox One like 3 times in the first 10 minutes. But it's competition, so I guess that's fine. And towards the end, I was actually, because they were really digging into the Xbox One at the end. They were just relentlessly going in there. And it wasn't like they were insulting the game. They were just saying, here's what the Xbox One does. Here's what we're not going to do. And they pretty much, everything the Xbox One did that everyone hated, they made it a very clear point to say, we are not doing any of this. Our console will not have this. And just really getting that out there. They actually made a really funny video of how to trade games with your friends. And it was because basically the Xbox One, you can only trade a game with one of your friends, and they have to be on your friends list for 30 days. And there's all these different things, which is just weird about it. And they made a video tutorial on how to trade games with your friends, and it said step 1 on the screen for like 10 seconds. And then it just goes away, and he's like, here you go. He's like, hey, thanks. It's like, that's how you trade games on the PS4. So I thought that was a pretty funny little tongue-in-cheek humor there. But yeah, Sony they came out, and they didn't really offend anyone, and they didn't force anything. So it was just, I couldn't pick anything that I didn't like about it. I mean, everyone in the crowd, obviously, because they were at the event, they were just eating up everything that was happening. There were a few technical difficulties, like at the beginning of Destiny, which is a very awesome game, by the way. I just didn't list it here because it's a multi-platform, and it's kind of hard to talk about a multi-platform when you're talking about specific consoles. But yeah, that game looked great. It froze a little bit at the beginning, but it was nowhere near as bad as Assassin's Creed 4. Another game that looked amazing, but towards the end, it just completely froze, and the person on stage you could tell he was embarrassed and just wasn't happy about all that was happening. So they just shut off the machine, and he walked off, and then Watch Dogs came out. Another amazing game, but also multi-platform, so I'm not going to talk very much on it. But yeah, there are 2 very good announcements, I will say that. The Xbox One announcement this time, it didn't really offend too many people because they just had games shown, so it wasn't like there was anything for people really to complain about. But the PS4 this time around, man, they blew them out of the water. Not only did they show games, but they showed features that everyone just loved. And not only that, they showed features that the Xbox One would have that nobody liked. And like I said earlier, made it a point to show you that they're not going to have it. So it's really hard for me to find something to hate about it. I'll probably look it over. I'll definitely be keeping up with E3 in the next few days. So maybe there'll be something that Sony does that I don't find very good, I guess, but I don't see that coming. And I've been mainly an Xbox fan ever since the original Xbox. I mean, it was PS2 and Xbox for me when I was younger, but it was mostly just the Xbox. And then when the 360 came out, of course, I was all about that. I was actually kind of a fanboy at the time because I was younger, and that's just what young kids do. Yeah, it's weird seeing something that you've grown up with just completely forget what they did that made them so popular. And that's what I see Microsoft doing right now. I guess Bill Gates was holding it all together, and once he left, they just went mental and started throwing bananas around or something. But yeah, Sony definitely stepped up this year, and I think everyone who's into consoles is pretty much leaning to Sony right now. I mean, the Xbox really messed themselves over with these announcements recently. So they are definitely going to have to win the favor back from the public, or else I don't see them doing very well this year. And if their console was cheaper, I'd be more inclined to say, well, it's cheaper, so, I mean, all these features are bad, but you're spending less money, so I guess it's okay. It's more expensive, and with all these bad features, and it has a less powerful video card, so I just don't see how you could pick the Xbox One and say, you're getting a better value out of this. Like, I'm definitely going to buy both consoles, and I'm probably going to play them very regularly, but it's just, the Xbox, they really let me down this year. I'm actually going to be buying a Wii U too, which I'm pretty late in that, but I want to own all the next gens in case something exclusive comes out like Bayonetta 2, or obviously the Mario games and all that. But yeah, I'm going to be owning all 3 of the next gens, so I'm going to be doing videos on them, I'm going to be talking about them. But yeah, PS4 came out on top for me this year. I know everyone has different opinions. These are all just mine. I'm not saying the Xbox One sucks and you should move over to the Sony consoles and all that. I'm just saying that's the way I feel this year. Alright, so yeah, there was my comparison between the Xbox One and PS4 announcement. I don't know if your opinion varies, but, you can let me know, message me, go to my Facebook page. Either way, I would like to have a discussion about this, because I know there are a lot of people that share similar opinions to me, but there are also people that don't, so I would like to see all sides of the spectrum here. Alright, anyway, hope you enjoyed it, and I will probably be doing this again. I can't think of a time that I would need to come back into a comparison, but I might just ramble on about games, I guess. I don't know. I'll think about it. Alright, hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.